It's a great day. This is the Lance Wallnau Show. I've got my new Maha hat. And, there are people that wouldn't wear a MAGA hat that'll wear a Maha hat. My son is one I noticed he's wearing. I thought it was Make America Great Again, and then I realized it was Lance Jr. He's wearing this hat because he can stand for this. There's people that'll stand for health, and Bobby Kennedy. And that's and so I want to just say, your day of health is here today because I'm on a mission so that we finish strong. My generation is the convergence generation. It's the older generation that's going to run with the younger generation in the last days. The Bible says that in Joel, doesn't it? It says that, old men dream dreams, young men see visions, that we move in one flow. Mercedes Sparks, you're the young next generation.
Hey, thanks.
That's why I bring you along, whippersnapper. Keep you on the show here. But we have two special guests that have been with us on the Courage Tour. Mm-hmm. You might remember the Courage Tour. This is James and Canada Fortune. These are pastors that have helped us out on the tour because the tour was, to a great extent, underwritten by the partnership with Level 10 Matrix, which we just felt that there were hundreds of believers that were standing for America, that are standing in the front lines of Reformation. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, man, Mario Murillo would do the signs and wonders in the evening, and in the daytime I do Reformation, and we share everything we knew about finishing strong. And you guys talked to the thousands that we had there. You had hundreds that were in your session discussing Level 10 Matrix. And you're pastors. This is interesting. I want you guys to catch this. Typically, pastors that believe in divine healing are in this group. Then they kind of like the doctors are over here. We've learned how to make peace, and doctors help confirm the Benny Hinn testimony or whatever. This person had this. But we're actually even coming into a greater synthesis because when you're a pastor and you believe in healing, but you have chronic pain and you're praying, and then God leads you to a solution, it's a different journey. Tell us about how you guys got involved with the healing revolution.
Yeah, so it started about 4 years ago when some pastor friends of ours in Tulsa had a terrible diagnosis. He actually went to the Mayo Clinic. They gave him a terminal diagnosis with 6 months to live, or they could do a surgery on his spine that would extend his life for a little bit, but likely he would still lose his life. And I mean, it was terrible. So his wife was left.
Pastor.
He's a pastor.
Lord Jesus.
And he's a pastor that believes in divine healing and leading ministry. And so it was a terrible situation. And then they started doing research. They heard about Healing Revolution. And so they ended up going, getting the Matrix. And once they received the Matrix, everything started changing for them.
It did start changing?
Yes. So about 90 days in, he became asymptomatic. So he no longer had any symptoms, which was just, for us, we saw this, we're like, wow, that is amazing. We got to find out more about this. And then we came and we participated in a meeting and learned about it. We're like, oh my gosh, we have got to receive this because we saw the benefits.
Well, how about you? So you yourself then, what did you say, I'll take the plunge?
Definitely. We both wanted to do it. And the interesting thing was, we saw the hand of God even allowing us to get it because she had been in a minor car accident. We'd been rear-ended, and she had a little bit of whiplash. And so we got an insurance company settlement, and it was the exact amount of money it took to get both of us the exact therapy they recommended. Within 5 days of when we sent in our information to find out if we could get the therapy and how much they would want to do. And so we ended up getting it the next week, and that's when a whirlwind of healing and regeneration really began in our life. And we were just like, we've got to tell everybody about this because this is life-changing.
So what changed for you?
Well, so my issues were, I noticed so I'm 51 years old now, but I noticed about 44, my brain not working quite as well, my energy starting to decline. But the biggest thing for me was about 45 years old, I noticed in my right hip that my hip started to develop pain. And I've been blessed with divine health really since I've been born again at 18 years old. And I've never had a surgery. I've never spent the night in the hospital since then. I mean, God has just been so good to me. But it's like this one thing was not getting better and actually got worse. And by the time I was 48 years old, the pain was about 6 out of 10. And I'd lay down at night to go to sleep. And I could tell on my heartbeat, because every time my heart beat, it's like somebody took an ice pick and stabbed me in the hip with about a 6 out of 10 pain. Wow. That's not very good for sleep. So I was suffering with a lack of sleep. I was in pain every day, and I was still praying and believing God. And I had a Bible school professor who used to always say this, but I guess it went in one ear and out the other. He'd always say, the natural and the supernatural come together to make an explosive force for God. Well, we've only focused on divine healing, praying for people, laying on of hands, and we still do that all the time. We've seen a tremendous amount of miracles in our lives. Yes. But this opened a whole new avenue to see that God created stem cells and he gave us the technology to harvest them. Proverbs 25:2 says, it's the glory of God to conceal a matter, but it's the glory of kings to search out a matter. So he didn't hide this from us, he hid it for us. And now we've come to a point where we realize what has been there all along and we can access it.
Wow.
So, Mercedes, what have you learned about stem cells as a result of our programs? Because you and I were talking before the show that it's like we're getting an education. We're hearing testimonies of miraculous, phenomenal turnarounds, chronic problems and pain ending, etc.
Yeah.
But what I'm learning is that stem cells are it's almost like God designed the human body to regenerate itself every 7 years, but that the principle of sin creates a deterioration. And the deterioration we can scientifically see is that in the stem cell, which is like the building blocks of the cellular structure in the life, starts off 1 in 10,000 for a baby. Then it goes to like 1 in 400,000 as you get older. Then it goes to 1 in a million when you get to our age. So your regenerative capacity is diminished. But if you have a surge of these stem cells that go into you from the umbilical cord of a baby especially, there's something about that beginning point of life, the explosion of life process. It starts, my daughter's about to have a baby. So I'm thinking that baby is once those cells that are in it are programmed to make it grow. And then it hits a certain point where deterioration starts to happen. But Mercedes, are you experiencing what I'm experiencing, which is I'm getting more clear all the time.
Every time.
That the reason why I love this therapy, the Level 10 Matrix, is I take it preemptively because it helps me recover even faster. I mean, I got a lifestyle that's kind of crazy for like a guy going to 70. Like Trump's my model, but I'll tell you, he's like supernatural. But I mean, I'm running around the world. I'm doing this day and night. People see me on shows night and day. Does he ever sleep? My wife kicked me out last night. She goes, "You're waking me up." I got in bed like around 2 or 3 in the morning. She goes, "Your brain is so active, I can't sleep." She rebuked me. I have to leave the room. I go, "I can't shut it off," because things are going. So I was I was writing last night. But is this your understanding too about how how the Level 10 Matrix is working?
Every time we do a show, and I don't know if it's like that for everybody at home, but every time we do a show, it's like I'm constantly learning a new thing about Level 10 Matrix, about how it works, how it's helping people. And I think, I hear James talk about, I had a pain at a 6 out of 10 every time my heart beat. That was one of the things that really gripped me at the Courage Tour is those evenings at night when Mario would say, who here has pain? Hundreds of hands would go up around the room. And you just think, oh my goodness, Lord, how can we run? How can we chase after the things of God when we're just trying to survive? And it's compelling. And I never know, like, I love what you guys are talking about, where it's the supernatural. Larry and I are the same way. I mean, we see miraculous. Larry prayed for a guy at Jim Baker's who got up out of a wheelchair. God healed him through Larry, and he gets out of the wheelchair. The doctor said, "You're never going to walk again." There is an element of the supernatural. There is, though, wisdom that is being released in the earth right now. And I think there are missing pieces that God's revealing. And I think Level 10 Matrix is one of them. I think stem cells is one of them. And it's just, I remember, and I always normally tell this story, but it burdens in my heart that there are so many people, 50, 60, 70, that have the greatest call in their life right now. And they're bought into lies that, no, just sit down. It's not for you. You're too sick. Then now's not the time to run. God doesn't you're done with your call in your life. That is the furthest thing from the truth. I mean, we teach convergence, Lance, that it layers and cycles and cycles and cycles.
Frankly, here's the weird thing, right? So it's ironic, you should say, that people that when they have the time at the end of their life to be able to do what God called them to do, they don't have the ability to. Either they don't have the finances or they don't have the health. Our job at Level 10 is to make sure that you've got the resources and that you've got the vitality to be able to finish the race God gave you.
Amen.
And we see it happen. I mean, we defy the odds, but we believe a Level 10 life is possible. Go to level10matrix.com. 800-361-2270. If you're watching on Facebook and Instagram, just write the word Matrix. And Matrix is the Hebrew word for womb. which is where we're seeing the birth of new life that is coming into people's lives. Who can tell me about Kendrick Lang? Is that where did
That's
that come?
Kenny.
Huh?
That's Kate's Kenny. You know Kate and Kenny?
Kate and Kenny.
Yes, Kate and Kenny also having babies, friends of our one and only Chelsea producer.
Oh yes, indeed. There we go. All right. Well, let's play this testimony. I want to hear it. I haven't heard it yet.
It's great.
To have the better life I'm having now, it was worth the chance. My name's Kendrick Lange, and I received the level 10 matrix back in October of last year. Before I received the level 10 matrix, I had a whole lot of exhaustion whenever I was hanging out with my kids. Also had back issues, really just kind of feeling crummy, and the joints hurt real bad. So immediately after, I really didn't feel a whole lot, but really started to see the changes probably a week or so after. Started having a lot more energy. The pain in my joints started to disappear. My eyesight has gotten a little better, so I've actually got an appointment for go get my eyes checked again. Along with this, it's also helped me jumpstart my weight loss journey. That has been real significant because I want to be able to be around longer for both my wife and my kids. I was searching for something that could get me out of the pain that I was in, and it has done that at least, and is probably still continuing to do it because each day it's getting better. Having the opportunity to get the level 10 matrix was awesome.
You know, those who are listening, you can call 800-361-2270. You can get a booklet too. All the stuff we don't cover here, which is the real science of this stuff, is in the booklet. But this statement, James, strikes me as interesting. I wanted to know if you guys can clarify it. I've heard you say that by 40 to 45, your body starts choosing what to keep healthy. Look at a young guy like that. Yeah. And I'm thinking, yeah, he needs to be doing this now, because if he's having problems like this and he's young, imagine him 20 years from now. His whole life will be impacted. His kids are not going to experience a dad fully present. What does that mean? Your body starts choosing what to keep healthy.
I think it goes back to what you said earlier. The day we're born, 1 cell in 10,000 of our 26 trillion cells at birth is a stem cell. And then, as you mentioned, by age 30, that drops to 1 stem cell in 250,000 cells. By age 50, it's 1 stem cell in 400,000 cells. And so a very interesting study just came out here in the last 6 months that a lot of Ivy League colleges were involved in. And what they found out, they studied human aging. And what they discovered is we don't age in a linear fashion. They found that around age 44, there's an acceleration of aging. And around age 65, there's another acceleration of aging. This corresponds perfectly with the research that we've seen, that somewhere between 40 and 45, most people go into what we call stem cell deficit. They no longer have enough stem cells to keep up with the basic regenerative needs of their body. Therefore, their body has to make some bad decisions. What I mean by that is, do I keep the brain healthy? Do I keep the heart healthy?
Oh, boy.
Do I keep the organs healthy?
Starts prioritizing who's living on the raft.
That's right.
You've got it. Exactly right. And so people start to, a lot of times by 50, they start going, it feels like a check engine light came on in my body. What's going on? Aches and pains.
Amazing.
Sometimes degenerative diseases start surfacing. And I love what you said a minute ago, because for Canada and I, although we had some symptoms, and like, for instance, my hip, 6 out of 10 pain every day I'm suffering with that. 6 days later, I wake up with no pain.
Wow.
But the primary reason I got this is the same reason I changed the oil of my car. I changed the oil of my car because that engine is expensive to replace. How much more valuable is our body? Why wouldn't we try and invest before we get sick if we could maintain our health? And so we both said, we've got to get this now. We've got to call God on our life. We've got a lot of things to do. We want to maintain our health. We want to run hard and not run out of energy.
Amen.
And we've had such a transformation. I mean, literally 6 hours after I got this therapy, April the 21st, 2022 at 3 p.m., she got it at about 3:10 p.m. 6 hours later, my brain fog was gone. It's like somebody took a dimmer switch on my brain and turned it back up. My memory came back. The energy has been just what you're talking about. I have the energy I had when I was 30 years old. It's 3 years later. I still have the energy. I can do 3 times the work I used to be and enjoy and not be dead tired. And, you know, some days life happens and you get 4 or 5 hours of sleep. At 45 years old, before I got this, if that happened, that day was bad. I mean, I was affected. Now I could run the next day like I got 8 hours of sleep. I don't try to do that every day, but, you know, it happens to us, right?
But the ability to run, the ability to be pain-free, the ability to have the repair, it activates the body's internal repair system.
It does.
It's like your body was designed to go like, let's say 120, Genesis 6. Not falling apart, but being regenerated and kind of like, you know, cells are being regenerated every seven years. But if you're not putting the right stuff in, then it isn't. Then the body has to start choosing what's getting regenerated and the quality of it. Canada, I love your name. It's spelled with a K,
Yes.
not a C. How did you get your name, by the way?
Well, my parents, of course, but
Were they from Canada?
no, not from Canada. My dad actually worked in the pipelines in Alaska. And so my mom, they went to the movies in the 70s and they loved that this lady's name was different in this movie. And they said, let's do something different. And so they went with Canada with a K.
I love that. Well,
you.
you're different. And so you've been kind of quiet here, but I know that the people that sometimes don't talk have a lot to say. So I wanted to ask you a question. You've seen testimonies here, and we got a couple of them. Can you tell me about what I'm looking at with Nina?
Nina, yes. Nina is amazing. She is 51, I believe, when she got stem cells, and she had so many things going on with her body. A lot of degeneration from generations. Her grandmother had to have hip surgery. Her mother had to have hip surgery. So she was in line to have a double hip replacement. She was very overweight for a very long time, so that put a lot of extra, on her body. And so she had a lot of degeneration, and she needed hip replaced. She had anemia her whole life. She was type 1 diabetic. She was all these, let's say, stage 3 of horrible degeneration in her body. Well, this was the 3rd time for her to have a stage 3 symptom in her body. And her son was really actually getting mad at God because God had not healed his mom. They're pastors out in California, friends of ours. And we just kept letting them know that there is hope out there other than the normal, right, that we're given. And so she started looking into this, and she said, yes, I want to do this matrix therapy. And I can't tell you how exciting this is because she has her life back. She, within weeks, started having no pain in her hips. And then she was able to go to Knott's Berry Farm with her family and walk around and not be in one of those little, carts that, she used to have to drive around all the time. She was able to go and walk with her family and have a great time. She said, I not only walked the whole park, I walked around it 3 times and no pain. So went back to her doctor, and her doctor confirmed her hips are regenerated. She does not need surgery.
Wow.
So that was just her hips. Anemia count went back to normal within a couple of months after therapy.
And I imagine the weight loss starts getting affected too.
Her weight loss stepped up and started going faster, and because she had been working on that for years and years. And so that also was affected in a good way. And her energy level went back, and her iron levels were evened out. And I mean, she got her life back. And this stage 3 thing went down to a barely stage 1 in her body. And so literally she got her life back.
And what was the period of time in this journey? Do you call it? Was it one therapy session, or how many did she do?
1 therapy session for her. Everybody's body is different because everybody has different degeneration going on, right? So everybody's body is different, but 1 therapy for her got her all of these results. And it's just been an absolute miracle for her.
It's interesting to me too, because it's like you said earlier, what are you learning? And like some of what I'm learning is that Level 10 Matrix is great preventatively.
Yes.
You know, like you're saying, hey, I'm taking it preventatively. I've received a couple of therapies. My eyesight's gotten better in both eyes, like 0.25 in both eyes. The eye doctor's like, you doing anything? And I'm like, I guess it's these stem cells. And it's like, I think a lot of times I envision people at home like, oh, well, I have this major medical crisis. This is, let me try this right now, you know, and like you partner your faith with, you know, a technology like this. But there's so many people who are just walking around with pain. I mean, we saw Kenny earlier, James, and you just learn to live with it. But then you realize, wait, and you watch a show like this and you watch these testimonies, you go, that's not what God wants for me. I'm not supposed to be just barely getting by. And, you know, when you're in pain like that, yeah, you don't want to work. You don't want to get on a treadmill and walk around. You know what I want? Some ice cream. I'll make myself feel a little bit better. You know what I mean? And so it's like, you think how it compounds and it compounds and it compounds over time. And next thing you know, it's like, you don't even want to get up off the couch. You know, you don't want to go to hang out with your kid and go to the park. You're like, no, we'll just sit here and watch some TV together. So I'm just saying, like, I'm realizing there's really different times we should be thinking about, like, if you're at home, of like, maybe it's preventative. Maybe you're realizing, wait, I'm not called to live with this pain. Or maybe you're in a situation where, and we've got a couple other really wild testimonies. I can say wild because like Darcy said the last time, he said, I go unbelievable. He goes, at this point, I believe it. I expect this. And so maybe you needed a breakthrough of a miracle. Maybe this is for you. So I would say, and now I'm kind of rambling, but let me just say, if you're in that bucket, go to level10matrix.com, check it out, download the book, because everybody's got a ton of questions. We always have questions in the comment section. Download Stem Cells Made Simple. The e-guide is right there. Check it out. And one of our amazing team members are going to reach out to you as well and answer any other questions you might have.
And you can go to level10matrix.com, 800-361-2270, or just comment Matrix on Facebook or Instagram. And I think, do you have any final thoughts? I've got some more I wanted to ask you about, but I think I'm gonna stop right here because there's so much to digest. I mean, we've got, what's the most common result that you guys see?
The most common for me is that they're getting their life back. I mean, it's not surprising anymore for people to text us saying, oh my goodness, like we got to save somebody's eyeball. She didn't have to have her eye removed because the pressure in her eye went back to normal within weeks of getting therapy. So it's not surprising to see fast results, and it's also not surprising to see results as you go. And that's what happens is sometimes the pain just leaves, or maybe there's some tingling, that is creating that healing, right, in your body, and then the pain's just gone. Or maybe I had a sore hip for about 3 weeks. Just the ball of my hip was sore for a couple of weeks, and then it's been perfectly fine. Never had pain before. So I just know that those stem cells are in there working on all these different parts of my body, and it just makes you feel better. And there's a lady that said, I didn't know how bad I felt until I felt so good.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
It didn't occur to me how much pain there is out there till I started hearing all the Relief Factor commercials. I'm coming from Charlie Kirk, and he's in his 30s. I'm with Charlie. I'm going, Charlie, come on. He's talking about his shoulder when he throws a football. I'm going, you're too young for this.
Yes.
And then I realized, you know what? This is the ultimate solution is to go to the technology that God put in your body to regenerate you. Your body regenerates itself automatically if you've got the original formula. So you want to go to level10matrix.com, 800-361-2270. And you don't want to keep hearing this and putting it off because it's preventative, it's proactive. That's why I do it. I don't wait till I have a problem. I'm doing this now because I need the recovery time fast. It's like athletes.
That's right.
Anyway, we're going to have to stop right here. Mercedes Sparks.
Yes, sir.
Your mom's a testimony. We saw that yesterday. Big testimony. I know I'm supposed to land the plane, but $10,000 an injection. I cannot believe that.
I know.
She was
a battle
paying
every
every couple of months, $10,000. Imagine that $10,000 for an injection.
I know.
In order to breathe.
Well, it's like you fight it out with the insurance company because the insurance company doesn't want to pay that, and they're like, "Do you really need it?" They want her to go on some sort of.
And it adds to the stress of her.
Oh,
she's got the breathing, and then now she's still going, and she's going after the therapy.
No shots,
folks. could be a big difference in your life. We're going to be back here again tomorrow, and we're thanking you for being with us every single time we're on the show. God bless you. This is Lance Wallnau signing off. Get your free booklet on Stem Cells Made Simple. Is that what the title of it is? 800-361-2270. Go get it for yourself. God bless.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world